What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, Division Rivals? This is Steven Hyder with K-City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. All right, guys, I'm going to go over some cornerbacks. I'm going to go over the cornerback market as I see it right now. Some of these guys have signed, and I'll make note of what I know. But here's the deal. We know the Eagles are going to need bodies in the secondary, so I'm just going to speak specifically to cornerbacks and how I broke this market up and what I see here. The Eagles are going to be value shopping. You guys know that by now. And by the way, guys, the way I split this video up is members. So community members, you guys are getting the video first. To join and be a community member, I'll link it down below, guys. Everybody else, you guys will probably be seeing this on Thursday morning. Your boys made 3 videos on St. Patty's Day. There was no drinking, no celebrating, none of that crap for me, guys. I got my green on because I'm an Eagles fan. But, yeah, that's the day, guys. So I broke this market up into 4 separate categories as I looked it over. I went with like kind of a premium cornerbacks market. From there, I went with veterans that might slip, might fall, need an opportunity to potentially start somewhere else, who could be value picks in the second wave, third wave of kind of free agency, right? Then I broke it up into a third market, which is kind of like guys that either had to opt out, got injured, basically didn't play in 2020, but are young, talented guys, or young, talented guys that were thought of very highly, but haven't had too many, targets and snaps to kind of prove themselves coming off of 2020. So, like, they probably would be second wave, third wave of free agency unless someone falls in love. And then I broke it up by a fourth market, which is kind of like the young guys. I call these guys like second contract or so. Some of them might be kind of finishing out their second contracts, but they're around that age group, right? I kind of have them as I want them to be under 30 years old, but kind of working towards that second contract area. So these are young, but they played a lot, but they're not top 100, coverage rating guys. So premium quarterbacks, let me just explain how I did it. They had to be top 100 for me to put them in this category, but specifically I wanted them to be top 50. Some guys were past the top 50 in terms of passer rating surrendered, but I still gave them the nod because of their reputation throughout the league. Here's how I got these guys. The number 1 premium cornerback I said was Richard Sherman. He had a opposing quarterback rating suffered or given up of 12th overall. So that's really good. I mean, guys weren't getting their due on him, but he didn't play a lot in 2020, guys. I'm assuming he got injured. I don't really know his story that much from 2020, but Richard Sherman anyways was going to be in this category, even though he's 33, just based upon his reputation alone, guys. The next guy I had, this is going to be a guy I think is going to make some money, guys. It's Troy Hill of the Rams. He had the 17th best opposing passer rating, so guys just weren't getting a lot of passes in on Troy Hill. He's a guy that I think is definitely in that category. The next guy I have, it's Xavier Rhodes. Xavier Rhodes had a resurgence in the 2020 year underneath Gannon in that Indianapolis Colts system. He finished with the 23rd best, opposing passer rating. Guys just weren't getting in on him. Top 25, man. I'm not going to hate on a guy like that. Malcolm Butler. Malcolm Butler had a ton of targets, and he shut dudes down. He got targeted a lot, guys, and he shut it down. Malcolm Butler did. 34th overall on the season in terms of, what he suffered, what he gave up. It's really good, guys. He's top 50. The next guy, I hate to tell you guys, he just got signed by Washington, and that's William Jackson III. That's a really good pickup by the Washington football team. I hate to say it. They've got a good value pick here. William Jackson III, 39th overall, guys. Makes a lot of sense. Good player to sign here. The next guy, Darqueze Dennard. Darqueze Dennard is kind of more of a slot guy than anything, but he's good. He's a good coverage guy. Top 50. Finished 50th exactly. Used to be with the Cincinnati Bengals. Ended up with Atlanta last season. Did pretty well. I don't know where he's at currently, guys. I don't know if he signed already. Some of these guys might sign at the time I say this. The next guy. These are these 2 guys I'm going to say next. These are reputation guys. They're outside of the top 50. Casey Hayward. He finished 62nd overall, but we know Casey Hayward has a very good name. We know that he's got a long track record of being productive. This is a guy that, if he really wanted to come to Philly because he just wanted a starting job and he somehow slipped the first wave of free agency, yeah, I'd take him in a heartbeat. Putting him, come on, next to Darius Slay, are you kidding me? Yeah, that'd be a good tandem for at least a year or 2. Patrick Peterson would be the other guy I'd give the nod to. He finished 89th in terms of suffering passer rating, opposing passer rating suffered. But, I mean, Patrick Peterson, even though he's like he'll be 31, I think, by the completion of the season. This is still a top-notch football player. Like, come on. So that would round out my premium quarterbacks. Like I said, the only one here I think that the Eagles truly have a shot at here might be Xavier Rhodes. And I still think that it's a stretch. We're basing it upon his relationship and the length of the relationship with Gannon, because he's been with Gannon at two separate spots. So, I mean, I'm not going to rule out that one, and that would be the most favorable, I think, signing the Eagles could make. I definitely, I have a lot of love for these guys that I just mentioned on this list. I just think that Xavier Rhodes is probably the better suited one. I can tell you Malcolm Butler had interest from Dallas. Not exactly the situation we want to see as Eagle fans. He's a good player. Casey Hayward, I heard, has some interest from the Denver Broncos. People are trying to recruit him there. We'll see how all these guys shape out. The second level of free agency here, guys. These are the guys I say might be day two, the second wave. Not day two, but the second wave of free agency, right? These are veteran guys that finished between, mostly they finished between, basically right around 100 to 150. These are guys that they probably aren't going to get the big money because they're not coming off their best years. But potentially they look for an opportunity to redeem their name, and maybe they take a 1 or 2 year deal from a team like Philly, which they will clearly be the number 2 guy coming in here. I'll start off with AJ Bouye. AJ Bouye, number 95 overall in terms of the passer rating suffered last year. Makes a ton of sense, guys. I mean, he's a good football player. Desmond Trufant finished 104 overall. Desmond Trufant maybe looks at what was done with a guy like Xavier Rhodes with Gannon, and maybe he thinks to himself like, hey, I only got so many years left. Maybe I come to a place like this. DJ Hayden would be that third guy I would put on this list, guys. He finished 148, so he's really on that edge of the line here. I definitely think DJ Hayden is more of a second wave guy. I don't think he's going to get a big contract here. There you go. The last guy I'll add, and he fell outside of the 150. This is a total value pick. This is the things that a lot of these GMs love. This is value bin at its finest. Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson was not good last year. He was bad, just be quite honest. He finished 169th overall in terms of the opposing passer rating suffered. That's not good, guys. He's falling out of the top 150. That's not favorable. But Adoree Jackson has the underlying skill set. He's a refurbished. He's a project. And we saw what happened with Xavier Rhodes. I can see merit to a guy like that wanting it. All right. Let's erase all that, guys. Third wave. The third wave, to me, are guys that they're really talented. They're good football players. They either haven't had an opportunity to start many games last year, or they were out. They just didn't play last year, whether it was injury or opt out. There's 4 guys I have on this list. Only 2 of them qualified for even any kind of rating. The first one played with the Colts. He's the name I haven't heard mentioned, and he should be mentioned. TJ Carey, the guy who used to play for Cleveland and something like that, right? Late round pick, 7th round pick. He's got a very Jalen Mills-esque, stature and stature to him. I'm not saying he's that type of player. I'm just saying the 7th round pick, a value pick that ended up playing pretty well in the NFL, guys. That's what I'm saying. TJ Carey, he had the 10th highest, or he had the 10th lowest, I should say. 10th lowest quarterback rating suffered. He played well when he got his opportunities. He just didn't get as many opportunities to really make that name. Fabian Moreau. Fabian Moreau, very talented, athletically gifted kid that's been very up and down in the NFL. He's been very much up and down. Washington, he had the 27th best, so he gave up the lowest, 27th lowest opposing quarterback rating, but I only think he started 1 game, and I'm pretty sure that was against the Eagles. Fabian Moreau, I thought played pretty well, though. I thought he was a pretty good football player, and I do think there's an underlying talent here. I can see him being one of those projects that turns out and is really good for another football team. Garyon Conley, a very highly thought of guy just a couple of years ago. He didn't play in the 2020 season. I think it was due to injury. You get a guy like that, he's highly talented as long as he's fully healthy, and you get him in a guy like Gannon's scheme, I could see it. And the last guy I'll bring up in this category of players, guys, is Artie Burns. Another one of these former first-round pick guys. Physically, the physical stature's there. He kind of definitely has the build that you kind of see from Gannon-type cornerbacks. He makes a lot of sense, but it's a refurbished project kind of thing, but he's young. All right, the last category. The last category, like I said, is the second contract or so guys, okay? They're young. They've played a lot. We'll see how it goes. To begin with, the first guy I had on this list has been signed away, which is Terrence Mitchell did get a contract. He got a 2-year contract. So Terrence Mitchell is gone. He played with Cleveland last year. He was the 101st ranked. He was just outside that top 100 in terms of opposing, quarterback ratings suffered. He was kind of right in that threshold for me, but he got signed, which now makes the guy I already did a preview video on very susceptible to be signed back by Cleveland because he was number 102 and he was also played in Cleveland, and that's Kevin Johnson. He's a guy I was really high on last year. I could see the Browns really wanting Kevin Johnson back now that Terrence Mitchell's been signed elsewhere. But he's a guy. Makes a lot of sense to me, right? Right around that 100 mark. He's a guy that's really coming up on that second contract, even though he's had a couple of one-year deals following that. He's the or so category. He makes a lot of sense, right? Physical makeup, guys. This is a 6'3" corner. I think his best days could potentially be ahead of him, and that's Kevin King. He played with the Green Bay Packers last year. 105th rated quarterback in terms of opposing quarterback ratings suffered. So he's in the respectability threshold. I mean, he's got the size, the length to play in this system, in this scheme. He makes a lot of sense to me. And then the last guy I will bring up here, guys, is what I'm watching, what I'm paying attention to, would be a former Eagle. Rasul Douglas, right? He didn't get the second contract here in Philadelphia. Rasul Douglas finished 109th overall last year in terms of opposing, quarterbacks suffered. I mean, that's not bad. It's not great, guys. I'm not saying you write home about these guys, but come on, guys. We need these guys are all better than what we currently have on the outside. I look at Rasul Douglas. He's got the requisite, length and the height. He's 6'2". He's like 210 pounds. He's a physical player. I think Rasul Douglas has got some fight in him too, man. That's the one thing I always respected about Rasul Douglas is I remember specifically that week 2 game in Atlanta where he's sitting there calling out. He's calling him out like, throw it at me. I remember that about Rasul Douglas. He always had fight. He just always didn't fight well. Let's just be real. But I always respected that about him. This is the cornerback market as I kind of see it, guys. I do expect the Eagles will sign somebody. I think we almost have to. And I haven't got into safeties. I'll do a video on safeties as well. But this is what you should expect, guys. As this market falls out, I'm going to continue doing videos about the value guys, where I could see the Eagles making these selections, okay? So I'll keep producing these videos, but I wanted to make a video here just broad brushes, strokes, generalized stuff about what I see from the Philadelphia Eagles, guys, in this market. All right, don't forget, if you want to support the channel, links in the description to buy me a cup of coffee. Also, don't forget, guys, another way you can do it without giving out any money from your pocket is just simply like the video and comment on the video. That tells the algorithm to send this out to other people, guys. And then lastly, if you're not subscribed, please hit that subscription button. All right, y'all, that's it. That's what I got for y'all today, and I will see y'all on the next video.